I think that both the political process and the civic struggle for equality are integrated. That's why we are always against war. We were against the aggression and the war on Gaza and in Lebanon. We are against the occupation in 1967 areas. We are demonstrating all over in order to say that we should put an end to occupation. I heard Mr. Netanyahu when he declared in Bar-Ilan University saying two-state solution. Immediately after the speech, I said, I do not believe Mr. Netanyahu. You know, I am living with him in the same house of parliament. I know the man. I know the coalition. I know the parties. I know the persons. I know the politicians. We know much more than, you or any other Arab country or even the Palestinian leadership what and how the Israeli political system is thinking and acting. If you are believing in two-state solution, you are not supposed to continue building settlements. Because if you are building settlements in the areas supposedly to be allocated for the Palestinian state, this is something wrong. Or if you are willing to have two-state solution, you are not supposed to issue a military order 1 week ago, 1650, giving the power of any military commander to deport any Palestinian from areas, from Ramallah, Nablus, from cities in the West Bank. Those who came from Gaza or were born in Gaza or even born in Ramallah to parents who were born in Gaza or East Jerusalem, or international supporters of the Palestinian cause, or Palestinians with foreign passports, American Palestinians, for example. They are being prevented from getting in Ben Gurion Airport, or if they are in the West Bank, they can be deported automatically after issuing this 1650 military order. If you are supporting two-state solution, you should accept the principle of terminating the occupation of 1967. Benjamin Netanyahu is not saying that the Israeli control of the West Bank is occupation. He do believe still that this is Eretz Israel, Greater Israel. He will never say that this is an occupation. If he will say, I will say, good, continue. But he had never said that this is an occupation. He is talking about Judea and Samaria and not about occupation. There is the kitchen of 7, political kitchen of 7 in Israel taking the very sensitive decision. Prime Minister Netanyahu, Ehud Barak, Avigdor Lieberman, Dan Meridor, Eli Yishai, Benny Begin, and Boogie Ya'alon. Ya'alon, Deputy Prime Minister, who was the Chief of Staff once, one of the most rightist in this government, said, after the declaration of Netanyahu about the two-state solution, he said, no one in the kitchen of 7 believes that we are going to two-state solution. He said, and I agree with him, no one is really acting in this direction. Now comes the relationship between the White House, the American administration, and the government of Israel. The main issue today that there is a lack of trust. There is mistrust between the White House and Benjamin Netanyahu, between President Barack Obama and Benjamin Netanyahu. I said it in the very beginning, I do not believe Benjamin Netanyahu. I think President Obama said it more than once in the Oval Room, not here. he cannot, and he doesn't believe Benjamin Netanyahu. Netanyahu said more than once that after the 10-month period of so-called freezing of settlement activity in the West Bank, this settlement activity will be renewed. There is a decision in the cabinet that after 10 months, the settlement activity will be reviewed. How you can say that you are supporting two-state solution and you are going to renew after 10 months the settlement activity in the same places that the Palestinian state should be constructed? The third evidence that he is not interested and he is not acting to construct independent Palestinian state or to end the occupation is what he is saying in the last month in very obvious way, that in any solution, Israeli military forces will continue to be in the so-called Jordan Valley in the eastern border, and he cannot accept any solution without Israeli presence. If we are talking about sovereign Palestinian state, how any Palestinian leader can accept the continuation of the presence of occupation forces? That's to say, Mr. Netanyahu is thinking about dwarf, non-independent, non-sovereign Palestinian state, like he once said, Andorra-like. Andorra-like. This is the way Mr. Netanyahu is thinking, Andorra-like state. The Palestinian people is not struggling, fighting day by day in order to be Andorra-like. They are struggling to be Palestine, and that's it. Also, they are willing to be equal to Israel, because Israel is independent, sovereign, and self-determination is very much obvious. Self-determination is independent, sovereign Palestinian state in areas occupied at 1967. I am, as Phil said, I am supporter of the two-state solution. But every day passing make it very much difficult to construct this independent Palestinian state and implement the two-state vision. That's to say, Mr. Netanyahu is pushing indirectly for another choice to be raised. If you want two independent Palestinian state, ahlan wa sahlan, we accept it. If you don't want independent Palestinian state, you are leading to one democratic state. You should choose. We should tell the Israelis, you should choose or two-state solution or one democratic state. Israel, the one democratic state is a nightmare for Israelis. But the occupation is a nightmare for Palestinians also. Netanyahu is not willing to have neither two-state solution nor one democratic state. He is willing to continue controlling Palestinian people and Palestinian lands, and the outcome is deepening of the apartheid system in the West Bank.